welcome to the channel. We're going to be working on this Grom today, potentially that Grom. Now time to remove all the side panels so we can get access to everything, but also more importantly, so we don't damage them when we lean the bikes over, because I don't want to do my oil change because I just did it. So this is just a smart way of doing things, even though a lot of people are going to be grumpy about it. Oh my god, it died! It just keeled over, I don't know what happened! That was Terry's shtick. We're going to be doing the clutches now. So we're going to put back in the time lapse.
Clutch springs and oil, high flow oil pump.
Yes, I'll show you that. So we're going to put the 6 clutch springs in. I think we're 60 over.
60 over.
High flow oil pump, and then
This is the clutch, what does they call it again? Clutch lifter plate.
Lifter
plate. Yeah, I know, I did the same.
Clutch lifter plate. It's going to keep the stock clutches though, right? Yes,
yeah.
We are. Yours, we're changing them.
Yeah, we're going to change the 6 discs in the other Grom.
Yeah.
But if you do any over stock springs, you have to do one of these because the original cast one, what's your kneecap?
Yep.
I got one right here. It's not strong enough.
Oh yeah, you can
and
see
these
right
actually break off. And then they go into your motor, and your motor goes off.
Yeah, we don't want that.
So you go from that piece to this beautiful CNC machined clutch lifter plate. If I can get into the bag.
Yeah. I'm gonna
put the pressure on, huh?
Yeah, might as well.
Get out of here.
Okay. You know what? When it looks bigger when you see just photos online, but this is your tiny parts.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, really what we're doing with these parts, especially this one, is just reinforcing what we were given weak, because the bike's cheap. This costs $70 to something that probably costs $15 to make and install.
Exactly. Especially
too, since this is poured. They make a bazillion of these in a minute. Well, they make maybe one of these every 5.
Yeah.
So
nice. The high flow oil pump will be in the second video, and in this one I'm going to be using Terry's hardware.
There's some beautiful Chimera parts.
Just made a little discovery, personal. Like, that's all just plastic cover replaceable, because that's the actual cover for the case. I was curious. Yeah. So I'm going to paint this red one of these days. The reason why the motorcycle is on the ground is because I recently did an oil change, and by it being on the ground, all the oil has gone to the one side, therefore saving me $20 in the cost of an oil filter. And yes, I'm just that frugal. That's what the inside looks like. You took out the screen. That's all the screen is. That's not too bad. Anyways, we're gonna get back to it. Here we are removing the clutch. There's only 3 bolts. They're about 8 foot-pounds, and lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, at which point we'll take it out gingerly. Alrighty, so we're gonna take this off little by little, like a star pattern, so let's pull this all out. Riding side up. Goes right there, but we're going to just put it right there. As I'm taking this off, I'm doing it in a star pattern. I'm going 3 cranks of the wrench, moving on to the next bolt. So as you know, we took the entire clutch basket off the bike, which is important because if we're going to be changing the springs, they'll all sit vertical, straight up, and then themselves be clocked exactly the same all the way around, which when you put the clutch spring retaining plate back on and you tighten it down, you tighten it all down in a star pattern, and you tighten them down to they're bottomed out, then 8 to 10 foot-pounds of torque just hand tight, and it'll be perfectly compressed. If you don't do that and you do it on the bike, it'll sound like a bucket of bolts, like a bucket of bolts.
I wish we could give these guys what mine sounds like with them not clocked.
Yeah. So my nephew was mentioning about this, which you could probably find in other videos. I thought this popped in there like nothing. But sometimes if you don't set this clocked right, it'll sit like that. It'll feel like it's proper, but it won't actually work because obviously you're gonna have additional space and it's gonna fry everything. So you need it to sandwich perfectly like that. So there's only a 50% chance of failure, but that's a huge percentage. And if I turn it again, see, still not there. Okay, so this is actually fairly, it only wants to fit one way.
Right, no, go back one.
Back one?
Right there.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so you actually fail in more areas than just one.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna actually make a little mark on this so we don't actually have that happen. Well, we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
You can make a mark and that way this doesn't happen to you. But this is actually great. Little tip. Next thing we're gonna do is open up Terry's bike and we're going to do the tapping. You're going to run a drill bit down this in the side of these, as you'll see there, because they got a little flap. You want to go past it just to clear it all out, and then you're going to tap it with an M6 tap. I'm doing this by hand because I've done it 1,000 times and I trust myself, but I recommend you put it into a jig and using a drill press. So I pulled out the M6 tap and I'm running it through the threads of the already tapped holes just to confirm all the threads are good and the M6 is correct. We got some... Oh, apparently the girlfriend's calling.
That one's already tapped.
Is it? This is tapped.
Oh, right. Sorry.
It's okay. Now that the clutch basket has been drilled and we've cleared out some of the debris, lubrication applied, it's time to take the M6 tap and start cutting the threads. So it's a half turn followed by a quarter turn. Half turn forward, quarter turn back. Half turn forward, quarter turn back. Half turn forward, quarter turn back. So we're fighting the compressor for making videos and stuff, but my nephew's got these titanium bolts, and these ones weigh nothing in comparison to the actual, like the ones that come with the, like just nothing. I wish I had a scale, but like, and they've got this little, I'll put the light on, and they've got this little laser etch thing. Like, I wish I could just like hand this through you guys through the freaking phone, because like this weighs as much as plastic. It is absolutely nothing. Then the stock one is heavy as hell. Like it's all that like rotational mass. Like this is like 0.00%, but it's a 0.00% to pop wheelies. Like it's all about the wheelie power in this case. Very nice. I'm still blown away by how light the titanium bolts are, and that rotational mass means a lot. For everything that you can get weight off the bike, that means you have more acceleration and more torque applied to the wheels instead of being lost through rotational mass, which is awesome. Right now I'm just testing to make sure all the threads work with the clutch basket that we just tapped, and I've recently cleaned it out with brake clean. More Bros titanium bolts for your clutch.
And springs.
And springs.
That's where we got our springs from too.
Nice. Those things, we're gonna put those in next. Look at the difference too. This having it side by side, you can just see it. Like, this is not sponsored. Like this, you can just tell right away.
You can even hear the sound difference too when they touch.
Yeah. So I've taken 3 of Terry's stock bolts, which is all that mine came with. So 6 in total to fasten the spring plate back into the clutch. I'm not changing my clutch discs. Terry is going to be changing his from the 5 disc to the 6 disc. I'm keeping the 5 disc. I don't have as many kilometers as Terry. But we're going to tighten everything down in a star pattern, and then at the end, it's between 8 and 10 foot-pounds of torque. Oh, look at this sleeping beauty. She's just sitting there waiting for the brand new part so she can get back up and ride. That's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait. I know it's going to seem silly to you guys, but I took the whole clutch apart again, and I wanted to redo the time lapse just so you can get a better look at the clutch being assembled and then refasten back down. I thought it was a cool little thing, and I wanted to re-show it just so you guys are better informed. Next, we are now installing the clutch onto the bike. My girlfriend doesn't realize that the camera is recording her. She does that a lot. Doesn't really matter to me. I don't really care. It's just me putting the clutch into the bike. It's not a big deal. Make sure your letters are facing upwards. Torque spec of the nut is 47 foot-pounds. Yep, that's fine. And then I'm going to reuse my nephew's bolts because he's got the titanium light ones and we're just pulling apart his bike. And then we're going to put his 3 into here and I'll have a nicely 6-bolt clutch. I realized I probably should have waited a little bit longer. Would have made my life a little bit easier. It's not too big of a deal. I hand tighten them in there, get them all threaded up, and then I tighten them all down. Start pattern again, it's all good. Once again, 8 to 10 foot-pounds, basically hand tight. I brought this example since I had the abilities when my nephew was replacing his clutches themselves to show you how everything should mesh together. And right here where it clicks in, that's very important. That makes sure you have all the clamping force. Now we're on the Terry's clutch, same as before, just drilling it out with the 5mm drill bit. Nothing too special, then we're going to get to tapping it, and then all of a sudden I just disappear for some reason. Totally just walked away while I was doing this. I don't know how long I've been gone for.
A little bit.
But you guys get the idea. Quarter forward, quarter back, and half forward, quarter back, half forward, quarter back, half forward, quarter back, half forward, quarter back kind of deal. Sometimes it's quarter forward if it gets too tight, and then quarter back, and then if once it loosens up, again, half forward, and then quarter back, you know, just practice and repeat, you know, you get it. Now we're going to be packing the clutch. So we've had the fiber discs in a bag with the actual oil that we use for the engine. So the 10W40 stuff, the royal purple you see there in front of you. And it's been sitting there for a couple of days, not a big deal. This is the environment that they will be in when they're inside the motor because it's a wet clutch themselves. Then we have our friction plates, and we want to orient these starting with the clutch itself, one of the clutch discs. When we go, and on the outside of it, you can feel the outside, the mechanical, one side will be smooth and one side will be rough or sharp. So we want to go smooth to smooth, sharp to sharp, smooth to smooth, sharp to sharp, until you've repacked the entire thing. Now I did this a number of times to make sure that I got the clutch right when I was repacking it. Again, we start with the clutch disc itself, the actual with the friction material to it. Then you have the friction discs, just the metal ring all the way around. And again, they're stamped, so there'll be a sharp side and a smooth side. Or as I tell the guys at work, you have the customer side, the smooth side, and the non-customer side, which is the sharp side. I just don't say the non-customer part. So again, you want it to be smooth to smooth, sharp to sharp, smooth to smooth, sharp to sharp, smooth to smooth, sharp to sharp, until you run out of discs as you're repacking the clutch. And I redid the clutch about 3 times in total until I was 100% satisfied with it. Just so that I knew, because you can get confused in this, and with everybody going around here talking to me and whatnot, it was very possible. I had my girlfriend help me, and then she was like, smooth, smooth, sharp, sharp, and we finally got it. Now the clutch had been packed, but I wanted to show you guys again the difference between when the clutch is done right and when it has that problem I was talking about. So this is when it's perfectly sandwiched. I go back one, and see that little space there? It's so easy for that to happen, and this is where it's sandwiched, and you're good. This is where you're not, where you have that space. You'll burn up your clutches if you don't have everything done properly where it sandwiches together. It's a very tight step that you want. Now that you're bored to death with me repacking a clutch pack like 3 to 17 million times, we're now installing the springs in the horizontal position, not on the bike, so that when we clamp it all together, they're perfect. And right now, I'm actually clocking the springs so they have the exact same orientation all the way around the clutch basket, so that when we compress them, they will have the same compression strength all the way around. Very important step. It's minute in general, and you could probably get away with not doing this step, but I prefer for things to be precise without question, especially with my nephew's bike. Like, I don't want nothing to go wrong because I won't hear the end of it. And plus, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. And now we just tighten everything down with a star pattern. 3 cranks, go on to the next bolt. 3 cranks, go on to the next bolt. 3 cranks, go on to the next bolt. All the way around, again, in the star pattern until you bottom out. And at that point, it's 8 to 10 foot-pounds, which is basically hand tight. And you're good to go. This has worked for both of our bikes, as I did test them, and at 100%. Life hack for when you want to know where your bolts go on a certain crankcase in case they're all different sizes. Terry's putting his bike to 47 foot-pounds. As you can see there, he got it in gear, and he's holding the brake until you hit it tight enough to do the click. You can get a little tool that will block everything from moving, but this is old school, and we don't have that tool, so. He's waiting for the click.
Need a second set of hands.
Yeah, okay. So when I did my bike, I was able to press the brake and it was in gear, and I was able to make the torque wrench click with ease. So that was no problem. With Terry's, it might be because he has a bigger bore and everything is just all performance. We weren't able to use the brake technique with the bike being in gear to have that happen. So what I had to do was grab a hose, like a rubber hose, put it in between the gears, and that's what was able to stop the bike from rotating, and then we were able to click it over with the torque wrench. Did that a couple times just to confirm, and we were good to go at 47 foot-pounds of torque. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Who can install their clutch pack faster? This was a fun little race that me and Terry had. The camaraderie and the just us going back and forth at each other. We're yipping and yakking and burning each other and making fun of each other and everything like that. And I was having a bit of trouble, and Terry had a bit of trouble. Then forgot a bearing. That's very important. The last bearing that was talking about. But all in all, got our bikes together.
So, was it the best time to crash? You got an excuse.
So guys, went to go start this up. Pressed it there. It's supposed to spark. And got nothing. What happened is when I was doing all the work, it came undone. Always start with the basics. Checking for leaks. Look at that thing. Blinky lights. No leaks though. Everything looks good. Yeah, I like it. So guys, the test ride is good. We don't have any extra fluids on the ground, which is awesome. Had to bump start the bike 3 times, but that was because the battery was dead. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns about drilling out your clutch basket, tapping your clutch basket, installing your clutches and friction discs and anything of that sort, or clocking your springs, anything at all, just leave those questions down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. As always, ride safe, have fun, and just enjoy the motorsport. Take care. Peace.